Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome back to the program. 28 states will be having governorship election on the 11th of March. One of such states that you need to look out for is Ogun State. And tonight, there is one man who court is held down for several months considering the lawsuit from the APC and Labour Party. But the appeal court gave a judgment in January allowing him and about 23 candidates of the party for the legislative positions to get back on the ballot. Mr. Otegbeye is the governorship candidate of the ADC. He's joining us live virtually from Abeokuta. Thank you so much, Mr. Otegbeye, and it's good to see you tonight. Let's begin the conversation. You're perhaps seen as a latecomer, considering the fact that you've been facing a lot of legal battle. Now that you've gotten onto the race, you have a governor that is seeking re-election. You have a PDP candidate that's not the first time that is seeking office. These two men are giant and heavyweights in their own right. Why do you think that the people of Ogun State will be looking in your direction at this time?
Thank you, Sheon. Let me first express some courtesy by greeting Nigerians and the good people of Ogun State. I'm also happy to tell you that we have finally overcome the setback of the several lawsuits filed against us. Let me say this. They filed a total number of 24 lawsuits, and all the lawsuits went on appeal, and those cases were reversed by the Court of Appeal. So we are set to stand election. But then, throughout the period of the litigation, we were never bothered at all because we knew that justice would prevail at last. So it wasn't a question of holding our arms. We have always been working underneath. Our supporters have been going from house to house, motivating the good people of Ogun State. And we have always monitored what has been going on with the poor governance that we are experiencing now. As for the giants, I am not aware that anybody is a giant. Ogun State is so rich and diverse in quality of people that everybody in their own rights have qualities to contribute and values to give. So I don't see anybody as giants or whatever. But then, if you are talking about the incumbency, yes, he is the governor now and he exercises some control. But then at the end of the day, it is not those controls that will decide the direction of election. It is the verdict of the good people of Ogun State on his governance.
Now, let me ask you straight up. So we get to talk about some other parts of these election that are important for the Ogun State people. Now, in one of the interviews, you were quoted to have said that I will defeat Abiodun with the help of Amosun. What do you mean by that?
Well, that wasn't the exact quote, and I'm sure those who pulled that out, they had their own reason. But let me say this. The endorsement of Senator Ibikole Amosun had given us in ADC a big boost. And I need to tell you, if you see what Governor Amosun did in 8 years, many people have equated it to record achievements of what can only be done in about 30 years. And his legacy still speaks for him. So to get endorsement from somebody like that, it's a goodwill. And I cherish it, I thrive on it. And I am sure, one way or the other, that support is going to create a great bounce. But is it enough to win election? No, certainly not. There are so many other critical stakeholders that are supporting us. But the accumulation of all these goodwills and support from broad-based across Ogun State will certainly take us to Amosun. As for whether we are going to get there, I can tell you without any shadow of doubt, I will be the next governor of Ogun State come May 29 later this year.
You seem to be very confident. And so my very first question, I'll go back to it in part. The confidence, I like to know where it's coming from. So no one wins election by just springing out from the blues. Springing out from the blues in this sense is that ADC as a political party might not be seen in the scheme of the politics of Ogun State as a party that has far-reaching structure. How then do you hope to win an election considering political parties such as the APC, with your very good friend, Senator Amosun, who has governed that state for 2 terms on the platform of the APC, and Governor Abiodun who spent another term of 4 years, ostensibly 12 years of APC in Ogun State, and you will see so much that there are other governors on the platform of the PDP in Ogun State. Those 2 parties might be referred to as the party with very strong rooting in Ogun State. So with ADC, or which of these structures are you using? Is it from other political parties, or where is the confidence coming from?
Well, Shehu, thank you. If you are close to the politics of Ogun State, it goes beyond party lines. The politics of Ogun State today is determined by the performance, largely by the performance of the present administration. As for the platform that we are using ADC, and I need to take you through some background. African Democratic Congress is not new to the people of Ogun State. That party contested all elections in 2019 and secured almost 120,000 votes. That's not a new party. And then number 2, quite a number of us that became dissatisfied with APC, and I put that figure as close to 56% of the old ADC migrated as a result of disaffection, disagreement in the party, and we moved to ADC. So what you are going to see, it's a combination of the old brand ADC and a little over half of the present APC. So the APC you are celebrating supposedly is a much cannibalized APC, and they cannibalized themselves. Then number 2, why am I confident that this administration will leave? Is their records. Because if you conduct a survey from Ogun East, Ogun West, Ogun Central, across the length and breadth of our state, everybody is tired of this administration. Number 1, they are ill-prepared for governance. Number 2, their regime is the worst in terms of transparency and being truthful to the people. Number 3, they have literally messed up the civil service. Can you imagine a situation where people are not being paid their salary on time, where retirees are not being remunerated on time, where the facilities have largely been degraded, and everybody is literally tired. So, as I said before, it's their record that will speak for them. So they made it a lot easier, but then it's not just their own failure of governance, it's also the quality that ADC is bringing into the table. Look at myself. I have my own background, with due respect, from the private sector. I am an insurance expert, and at the age of 20, I graduated from University of Lagos. I promoted Regency Alliance Insurance PLC at the age of 31. Today, that company is quoted on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. I am also a lawyer. Aside from all this, I've been exposed to governance and a lot of what is going on in our grassroots. from 2011, I have promoted an NGO called Building Opportunities for Tomorrow. And that NGO gave me an opportunity to go around the grassroots. The focus of our NGO was to provide Medicare and support. And through that NGO, I related with everybody across the length and breadth of our state. So I understand the problem and peculiar challenges of our people. And so, because of that, we have come out with a holistic package to fix Ogun State. What are we fixing? We are fixing the ruts created by the present administration. And then we are going to do that by ensuring that 5 pathways to prosperity are implemented. The first one is to make sure that our economic growth, the economic growth of our state is accelerated, is enhanced, is boosted. Don't forget, all these people that are there now, they brandish figures. They've given us figures of IDR that look so bogus, and one cannot but wonder if that IDR position was correct. Why do you have to owe salary if you are, hitting those landmarks that you are touting that you are making? We are now going to create livable communities, create new towns. The social systems are going to be improved. The civil service, the public service will be enhanced. We'll make sure that the civil servants that have been messed up so much in the last 3.5 years, we build up their morale, we train them, we pay them very well. Then we are going to make sure that people focus infrastructure, not just infrastructure. What you have in Ogun State is a sham. That is just being...
Mr. Otegbeye, yeah. So if I may jump in quickly now.
Please jump in.
So, I mean, if you look at Ogun State has benefited a lot from the status of Lagos State. Ogun State is perhaps one of the most industrial, the state with the biggest industrial hub in Nigeria. It's boasts of more companies or more industries than perhaps many of the states in the 36 states of the Federation. That is a plus. What would you be doing with that kind of status that Ogun State has? Should you be elected?
You see, the problem with the people that brandish statistics is they veil their statistics in such a way that it will tell the narrative and the stories they want to sell. Somebody once defined a statistician as someone who puts his head in the oven and his feet in the freezer and tells you on the average, I feel fine. Now, what you have only told us a part of the story. The so-called companies, when you put statistics to statistics, about 35% of those companies have died. About 35% of those companies have died. When you look at the incentive that are provided for those companies, then a lot of disincentive.
So what would you be doing differently? Should you be elected governor?
Now we are going to make sure that we give incentives to manufacturing concerns. Since we are focusing on the manufacturing sector now, we are going to give incentives for them to produce. We are going to make sure that the ease of doing business is improved. Ogun State had dropped significantly in the chart of ease of doing business. We are going to make sure that multiple taxes, they are erased, and we are going to create conducive infrastructural base that will enable them to function very well. Those are some of the things we are going to do. We are not just going to be brandishing. There are so people in Agbara.
Yeah, Mr. Otegbeye. So let's wrap.
How many companies have died? If you see the litany of companies, medium-sized companies that have folded up in the last 3.5 years, then you will shake your head for this state. It will stop.
Let's anchor on this note. I know you've been drenched in the campaign activities, but if there is one thing that you want the people of Ogun State to take note of as part of your capacity that you are bringing on board, because they've not tested you before. So should they want to test you, how do you convince them? If any one of them is watching tonight, the voters in Ogun State, what would you be telling them to convince them? I'll give you 30 seconds to do that, sir.
Well, the only thing I will emphasize is that there will be transparency in governance. The gap between the leadership and the people will be bridged. I will make myself accessible to the people. And then the utilization of the resources will be optimal. There will be responsible leadership. Don't forget, the key thing that I am hammering on is failure of leadership. It appears that the present leadership is not prepared for governance. I am prepared for governance.
All right.
Aside from that, I want to tell you there are blueprints on ground for development, things that previous administration from the time of Baba Oshoba, the time of Otumba Bengadane, the time of Senator Ibikunle Amosun, they had blueprints of development that this present administration have abandoned and discarded for whatever reason they
Mr. Otegbeye,
we are going to revisit those blueprints.
Thank you so much.
Sure that the legacy of the founding fathers are restored.
All right. B.E. Otegbeye is the ADC governorship candidate in Ogun State, and he says he's challenging the status quo. I wish you the very best. I hope before the 11th of January, we'll be able to get you back to speak to you more on the race. Thank you so much indeed, and it's good to see you and talk to you tonight.
Thank you, Shion.
I appreciate it.